So this drum set that I'm sitting behind is the kit that I would normally take to the gigs that I play. It travels a lot easier, especially with a 20-inch bass drum. Fits into a car very nicely. I like the creative options that this tom setup gives me: 10-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch. It's just something that I picked up from one or two drummers and kind of stuck with it. It makes me feel nice when I play and I have all those options. So this drum set is pretty much maple. It's one of Sonor's mid-level maple series kits. This is the Force 3007, but this has now been replaced with Sonor's AQ2 series, which also sounds amazing. So yeah, same Sonor craftsmanship, same quality control standards. Everything that goes into their top-end kits also goes into their mid-level kits. So for my travel kit, I tend to play coated Emperors on the top. The bottoms are just clear Ambassadors. The Emperors, being a little bit thicker, obviously have a slightly longer lifespan, and Remo just has this amazing way of making the head translate what the drum is supposed to give you, and the Emperor is no exception to that. Then on cymbals, let's have a look at my darker selection of cymbals. So I'm a big fan of Zildjian's Constantinople series. It's quite an expensive range, but I mean, for me, worth every penny. So the Constantinople 14-inch hi-hats that I have here are a very nice and dry tone. Same with the 22-inch Constantinople ride that I have, 22-inch medium thin low. I have no idea what that means, but it's stamped onto the cymbal right here. So, and then always been a big fan of the K series, K Dark Crash Thin 16-inch, and then a slightly larger version, the K Dark Crash Medium Thin 18-inch. These have been part of my cymbal selection for a very long time. I actually have a lot of cymbals, but these are kind of my go-to set when I do gigs. And then one of my favorite elements of my cymbal selection is the K EFX 18-inch. Just has a beautiful tone. It's not as trashy as a China cymbal or something like that, but it's not quite as sweet as a normal crash cymbal. It's kind of like somewhere in between. So let me play you some of that, and you can hear the different tones of the cymbals. Once again, this is not recorded with close mics and EQ and loads of processing. There's literally one stereo mic in front of the kit capturing the acoustic sound of all of these cymbals. So what you're hearing has not been tweaked and has not been tweaked. Cool. So ride cymbal. And what I love about this ride cymbal is you can crash it. It gives you this majestic kind of gongy tone. Nice and big, but not super in the way and not super annoying because of the dark tone. Then my two crashes, 16 and 18-inch Ks. Nice and pleasant on the ear, but still very nice character. And then my EFX. Nice bit of trash in there. So Cool. And then last but not least, the hi-hats. There we go. They sound great. They're not too harsh, not too trashy, nice dark tone, and volume wise they kind of stick to the level where they're supposed to be. They don't pop out anywhere and everywhere. So yeah, those are some of my favorite cymbals, I dare say. Then let's have a chat about the snare drum that I'm using. So I actually own a lot of different snare drums as well. I own the Gavin Harrison signature. I own the Danny Carey signature, which I think is discontinued. I have that other 13x7 maple snare. I have a little jungle snare. Anyway, the list goes on. But this is pretty much my favorite go-to snare drum, the Benny Greb signature snare by Sonor. This is actually the first edition that came out. They've since revamped it a little bit. They've added some really cool extra features. Also a beechwood snare drum, 13-inch, as I mentioned. Some of my favorite snares are 13 inches, 13 by 5.75. It's quite an odd depth actually for a snare drum, but sounds amazing. Also a beechwood snare drum. With this amazing Scandinavian birch veneer on the outside. And then, so drumhead wise, on a snare drum, there's just nothing that compares to a coated Ambassador for me. It's one of the best drumheads to put on a snare drum, and the Benny Greb is no exception. But what I do take along to a lot of my gigs is just an extra cutout actually that I got from an old drum head. I cut it to size to fit nicely on top of this snare drum, and it changes the tone quite a bit, dries it up a lot, and actually lowers the pitch of the drum slightly. So this is what the drum sounds like without the drum head, the extra drum head. Kind of nasty actually. And then when you put that on there, you can hear the tone drop slightly. And when you engage the wires, you get a very kind of retro sound. In fact, let me tweak this a little bit. A little more tone. One thing that I love about these Sonor drum thrones is the drum key holder at the bottom. Sonor DT4000, get one now. Anyway, so Benny Greb snare drum with an added drum head on top. You take it away, now it sounds kind of ringy. And very beefy actually. So let's try, we might have a bit of time. Let's try and crank it a little bit, just so you can hear the difference. So yeah, some people enjoy that tone. Might be a bit tight for me, but cool. And then one last thing that I want to chat about, which I'm not sure if you'll be able to see from there. I recently invested in the Jojo Mayer standard bass drum pedal. He has a signature bass drum pedal which has some very cool features. You can collapse the whole pedal into like this little pancake kind of casing. But the standard pedal is just the standard pedal. Has all the best features of the Jojo Mayer signature pedal. The round cam design, which I think is great. If you look at my brand selection and the type of products that I use, I tend to like products that have a lot of history and heritage. And the round cam design also comes with a lot of history and heritage. It's pretty much the first design that pedals came out with. So it's kind of unhindered. They haven't tried to accentuate any part of the motion of the beater or anything. The pedal, what you put into the pedal is what you're going to get out of the pedal. And for me, that is the best way to ensure that my foot technique develops properly, so that I'm not combating weird motions on the cams. And another thing that I enjoy about the pedal is the felt beater that it has. A lot of other pedals have very pointy or kind of clicky sounding beaters, which is great for a specific type of genre, but for me, I need to kind of be versatile enough to bring anything to the table that any producer or any band leader expects of me. So in the round felt beater just gives me so many more options in terms of that. So yeah, that's part of what I enjoy about the Jojo Mayer standard pedal. And it just feels like I can actually achieve things on my bass drum that I haven't been able to achieve before. It inspires me to practice, which is kind of what having amazing gear is supposed to do, is to inspire you to practice, inspire you to be creative, and inspire you to give your best performance when you're on stage. So yeah, that's kind of my story. Lastly, can I speak about my drumsticks? So the drumstick of choice for me is the Vic Firth American Classic Extreme 5A. So the Extreme 5A is basically just a tip length longer than a standard 5A. I really enjoy the dimensions of a standard 5A. For my hands, they just have a nice, I grip them nicely, tend to grip them nicely. They don't slip around, so they feel very comfortable. But with the added length, I think they actually added the length at the bottom, technically, which means that you get a little bit more forward motion. And that just enables my hands to relax a lot more, because the stick and the momentum is doing all the work. I'm not actually putting in all the work by myself. So that has really opened up and in a sense revolutionized my technique, because I can do a lot more with a lot less effort now. So the stick itself, I'm not sure what kind of tip this is actually, but I don't enjoy very small tips. I enjoy a tip with a little bit more beef, especially on my cymbals. I enjoy wooden tips just for the tone, because darker tones and wooden tips just go better together. Yeah, and the stick, this specific model has really just been the best way for me to not have to worry about what my hands are doing. I can just be comfortable while playing, and the stick does the work for me. So yeah. So I'm Jason Moser. This is some of the gear that I use when I'm out and about. Thank you for watching and for supporting the drumming community. Thank you for Marshall Music, driving all the way out to my drum room to come and give you a sneak peek, behind the scenes peek at what I do and I guess in a sense who I am. Enjoy.